Happy Sunday. Buenas tardes, buenas noches. If you're in Europe, buenas noches. If you're in the Americas, buenas tardes. So, on this Sunday Live, this Sunday sermon, I'm going to discuss pickup lessons from Avatar and modern day science. And this is going to take us down an esoteric path that I can almost guarantee you won't have considered. And I think these are helpful perspectives, maybe not so much in the individual moment, but overall, these are helpful perspectives. So, the title was Lessons from Avatar and Modern Science. Lessons from Avatar and Cutting Edge Science. What on earth am I talking about? Did I pick the girl in the thumbnail because she's got braids? She could be comparable to the girl in Avatar. Am I comparable to the guy in Avatar? I need to get some braids. Well, the film Avatar, the main character inhabits the big avatar creature that's like roaming through the jungle. It's super powerful. It's got this incredible body. And the main character inhabits one of those through... they kind of get in a machine, they get in a headset, and then all of a sudden the avatar wakes up and they're incarnated into the world. And you have the body, and then you have the headset. You have the consciousness, which then controls the body. And it's not the main point of the film, but actually it's an interesting way of looking at the human experience. This idea that your body is an evolved thing, it's an evolved organism. So what your skin color is, what your physical features are, whether you're a male or female, that all happens through a process of evolution, obviously, and genetics. But the experience you have really is like you're the person in the headset. So if I had Usain Bolt's physique, I would have a different avatar. I'd have the same headset but a different avatar. If he was me, he would have a different headset but the same avatar. And the thing I work on a lot with guys, we can work on the avatar, we can work on the physical appearance and so on, and that we can do a lot with that. But the real thing that we want to work on is the headset that is controlling that great, wonderful avatar. I mean, you could literally have someone who is an avatar, like a 10-foot, 15-foot blue creature who you'd think like, this guy's like almost a literal god, yeah? Surely he's going to be fine with pickup, but if he had low self-esteem, that's obviously an extreme example. But you can have someone with a perfect physical avatar, but if they have low self-esteem or they just don't understand the mechanics of what they need to be doing, they're not going to succeed, or they have the wrong mindset. So a lot of what I do is work on the headset, on the guy who's using that headset, that is controlling this VR experience. That's really where the money is. That really is where the money is. It's what's going on in that little space there, and how to tap into that, and how to have your mind work as your greatest asset rather than your greatest enemy. So if you're with me so far, this is going to be a deep one. I'm Joseph the Wing Bro. I discuss all things daytime approach, nighttime approach, relationship related, and I give you guidelines, principles, more than I can give you tips and tricks for sure, but guidelines and principles are more useful so you know what you're doing. So I've talked this week about being dogged, about sticking in. I think I mentioned on Thursday I had this great set with a girl who practically ignored me through the whole set. She gave me like a load of sass, but she still gave me her number. And then Friday just had this completely wild experience with her, completely wild. So the thing that got me through that was not my looks. It was the headset. It was the headset. Because I knew when I was in that interaction, I've seen this kind of stuff before, and I know the right thing to do is just stick in, stay here, be dogged, but be light with it as well. So my headset was working for me. They could have been the most, like, you could have literally had the most specimen, gorgeous man on earth approach her, and if he'd not been able to stick into that set, she'd have just disappeared off, and he'd have just turned his tail and gone home disappointed. So the headset is super important, and when you're going out doing a lot of daytime approach, this is really important to address this, because I think one of the things that it's hard to reconcile as a guy sometimes is the sheer amount of no's and of no non-starters that you get with the girls, and that can often mess up your headset, so to speak. You're physically fine, the avatar is fine, your physical body is fine, but the headset gets messed up. What's going on between your behind the eyes? That is what gets messed up when guys are going out. Che, mate, how are you? Um, Mate, this is gonna be a deep one. This is gonna be a deep one. I think you might enjoy it. So yeah, I'm just discussing how our physical body is kind of like a physical avatar that we're presenting out there in the world, and we can make improvements to this. And we want to make it look as good as possible and have it in the best shape possible. But the real thing that is going to define your success over a long term, with let's say something like daytime approach, or just I think in life in general, is what is going on in that headset. The person controlling the avatar. That's what's all important. You can have a way inferior avatar that actually does really fucking well because he's great, got a great positive attitude, he has fun, and also knows how to push things forward. Is also dogged as well. But yeah, one of the things that can mess up that can mess you up mentally as a guy is if you go through these little patches where you maybe get some false positives, you get some numbers and they don't come through, or you just get some no's, and you go on a bit of a streak where it's not the best, and or just maybe just a frustration, and that can actually mess you up. That can mess you up where you get like the 50% success, you get the number, but then you don't get the girl out. That's probably worse in a way than getting the number, and it's crucial not to let that stuff just to stay on a positive mindset when that happens. So yeah, at the moment, like I say the last 3-4 weeks, I've had because I've had a lot of other stuff going on. I've been getting numbers, and I've not been so committed to actually getting these girls out, and because I'm experienced, I know it's just a matter of time. It's just like, first of all, my follow-up's been shit, so I know it's a matter of time. I'm gonna sort that out, but I also know it's a matter of time until I just encounter one in the street, which is just a complete firecracker, and that's what I had on Thursday and Friday. So yeah, so keeping on track through the process, especially guys who are like, if you're giving yourself guys who are coming in at a disadvantage, maybe from years of hesitation, and it's a bit of a process for you to get started, giving yourself that grace just to realize, if I go out once a week, I might have a month or two which are all I'm looking for is positive signs. All I'm looking for is positive signs. So that would be, yeah, just in terms of your headset, And I do think doggedness is way understated and underrated in this space. Being a combination of fun and dogged, that is actually, especially in the Latin world, that is really the essence of a successful man. Like, that's an essence of an attractive man. Guy who is dogged and is also light-hearted with it as well. If you're dogged but you're kind of like a psycho, that's a little bit much. But if you're dogged but also light-hearted with it, like you express that desire, you're persistent, but you can also take it or leave it. There's been too much in this space of like high-value men don't chase and stuff like that. And yeah, I get all of that. It's not chasing, it's being proactive, man. If you're looking looking at it from an evolutionary point of view, we're going to inseminate the woman to carry our scion into the next generation. she has a lot more to do in this thing than you do, realistically. We've just got to go over to the girl, pull her. Yeah. She's got to do everything else for the next 20 years, potentially. So I think it's perfectly fine and perfectly normal. It's quite messed up, actually, that we've got these expectations that guys shouldn't have to do anything. So, yeah, so it's kind of this evolutionary thing. And my experience has always been like when it's girls that throw themselves at me, they're usually they're not that good. They're not that good. You normally need to spark it off to begin with, and then they'll follow up. So, yeah, that's the kind of first analogy there is we're the avatar, work on your avatar, but then also work on the headset as well. And really, the headset is where it's at, especially over the long term. And then the next thing I was going to come to was insights from like science, perceptual science, neuroscience. It's something I'm just interested in general, and there's some crazy things that have helped me, and one of them is realizing you never have any experiences at all other than neurons firing. There is no experience without neurons firing. That's it. That's all we've ever got. So when you feel stressed, if you're going into approaches and you feel stressed or tired or you feel this, that, and the other, nervous, anxious, I think just realizing that's actually just a series of neurons firing in my brain. That I've perceived some kind of a threat, whatever. It's just fucking neurons at the end of the day. That's all it is. It's not base reality. It's just my, just the software in my brain. And that strangely for me, that actually gave me a lot of liberation. So I realized, well, if I can generate these stressful states, ultimately it's my brain that's doing it. I can also generate a state of relaxation as well. And I started to tap in and actually doing that, doing a few visualizations, doing a few exercises, a few little tools that I've got up my sleeve. And then I started to go out and I would be like a level of relax, which is like completely like I just had a massage or something, just been to the sauna, had a massage. And I was going into approaches like that. I realized, wow, that's just from me gymming around with my neurology, doing a few exercises before I go out. And oftentimes now I can actually do that. I can snap into that because I've kind of trained myself to do it. And I can definitely feel myself like it's much more pleasurable to be to have all these neurons firing in your favor, to get into that right. That's what state is. It's just neuronal activity. When people talk about state, that's all it is. And so it's if you can get that firing in your favor, you can approach through gritted teeth, but it becomes unsustainable. But if you can get it firing in your favor, everything just becomes a lot easier, a lot more pleasant. So yeah, this is something that I learned a couple of years ago, and it actually made all the difference. I think I would have burnt out if I didn't figure this one out. I would have burnt out. I was walking down the street one day. I've been doing loads of approach, and I saw an attractive girl walking past me. And I started to get like, I wasn't even going to approach her, and I started to get like a reaction of like, my heart rate started to elevate. I started to feel stress response. This was in Dominican Republic 2 years ago. And I realized, I just like carried on, went to the supermarket, and I thought, that's not normal. 6 months ago, that wouldn't have even happened to me. I'd have just looked at her and moved on. So what's happened there? I realized, okay, my brain has started to see these attractive women as like, almost like a test, or almost like a challenge, or almost like a threat even. And so once I realized that, I thought, well, okay, that's just a bunch of new synapses that have connected up, and I'm giving too much meaning to this. But because I understand neuroscience, so I know you can just rewire it. You just do these little activities just to things to calm yourself down. Next time you look at the girls, just feel really relaxed, or just imagine some kind of different scene going on. Imagine her with like a clown hat on. There's actually these little things you could do that are actually pretty cool. And I also took about a week off as well. Took about a week off doing the approaches just to let everything reset. And yeah, then came in the following month, and I remember those were the most relaxed approaches of my whole life. And I had this like deep realization: shit, it's just neurons, dude. It's just fucking neurons. It's no big deal, you know. So yeah, even if you are feeling that fear, this is something, yeah, just to remember. It is all just fucking neurons in your brain firing away. Ideally, you want to get them firing for you rather than against you. You can still do it even if you're nervous, but I'd like to get them firing for you rather than against you. So that's an insight from modern day neuroscience. Well, that's actually quite old, to be fair. That's not even new neuroscience. The real crazy stuff coming in at the moment is like Donald Hoffman's work, where he's basically in the process of proving that space-time is, well, we already know it's not fundamental, but he's in the process of really deconstructing space-time. And then from that, he's quite ambitious. He's tracing back everything, including to evolution. It's pretty interesting what he's doing. So yeah, just to get to the evolutionary side of things, all we're able to really do when we identify women is we just identify fitness points in women: youth, beauty, curves, whatever we identify. And they're basically doing the same with us, especially on that first interaction. So make sure your fitness points are as good as possible, like the obvious ones. But also a big fitness point for men is like self-confidence and social competence, a little bit of social, shall I say dominance, but I mean that in a way of slightly taking the lead. That actually conveys much more to a woman than probably we even appreciate as a man. Like a very timid supermodel guy coming over to her might get her number, but a charismatic guy who takes a lead, drags her around the bar. Let's take it out of the streets for a minute. Drags her around the bar, introduces her to some friends, and he's the kind of center of attention. He's the leader of the tribe, so to speak. That's actually much more powerful from a woman's point of view. A guy like that, they really feel they have to be around this guy, and it's evolutionary. So fortunately for us as men, there's more we can do. I think it's a harder game for women because they're only playing on a couple of metrics, really. You know, just being a decent, kind person and being attractive. For guys, that's enough. But what if you're very unattractive as a woman? That's actually a tough break. A very unattractive guy actually does have a shot at getting a very attractive woman. He's gonna have to do something. He's gonna have to get off his arse, but it is actually possible. Whereas a very unattractive woman, I don't think they can. Can they get an attractive guy? I don't know. Yeah, a mid girl can, but not like a truly unattractive girl. They can't. So for us, there are more angles for us. We can actually, the social, rising up in the social hierarchy, improving social skills, improving a bit of that dominance, a bit of that humor. That can work wonders. And then the entourage effects as well. I'm not talking about my private mastermind here. I'm talking about my just in general being out in a clan, in a gang. That's also very powerful as well. You swirl through the night or you swirl through the day, and you're like you're just this kind of hurricane that just pulls people in, and that's what it becomes. That's the most powerful. That's something I'm not happy right now that none of us are really tapping into that. That's something me and Balthus have talked about. The highest level and the easiest level is when you're playing 3-4 players and you're going out together and that's when the game is it's over. It's over. If you've got 3 or 4 good guys going out together in a city which is amenable, the girls are hot, it's just over. It's a guarantee within a year. That is when you will get the best of the best then. Because also a lot of attractive girls, it's a pull to them. They like to come into the new tribe. It's not just this one guy, it's the fact he's got friends and there's this fun thing going on around him. That's, as a single guy, you can obviously, you can do it all as a single guy, but it's so much easier and it's so much more fun when you're doing it in that way. It's like myself and the guys in Belgrade last summer. It was just easy. It was just easy and fun, you know. And there was not really any sessions that were that. Only keeping up with Baltus because he's 31 is just like just an absolute approach terrorist. Just going out, just wants to do so many approaches once he actually gets going. So actually keeping up with him for me was the only difficult part. But apart from that, it's just all easy, you know, and fun. Um, so let's have a look here. So you can't post on the oh, nice one, yeah. So I started. Oh, by the way, guys, I've started a Telegram group. Let me. I'll have a look at that afterwards. I'll see what the settings are. I've not had a Telegram group before, so I'll have a look at the settings. Yeah, because I put just basically introduce yourself. Um, you know, introduce yourself, your sticking points, and the purpose of the group is going to be just, just post your wins through the week, and I'll check in. I'll check in every day, and also uh, maybe I might even post some infield stuff. There's stuff that I'll probably post in there that I can't post on YouTube. Some things I can't post on YouTube. There's stuff in there that I can post, even some infields that I can't really probably post on on YouTube, which could be fun. But the main thing is just a little bit of a hype zone to begin with. That's what it's going to be. So yeah, thanks for joining, Mahid. The links are all, anyone watching this, the links are all in the description here. You can go and check out the new infrastructure that I've got for Wingbro. So there's a Telegram group first of all. There's also a new website as well, which is finished. Jay, you're in there, mate. Pride of place. Thanks very much for the testimonial. And you can get more details on the website about myself. There's and also I talk about a few principles as well, some basic principles of seduction, where I'm at right now, what I'm doing. And then you see testimonials from a few guys who've come to work with me. I'm still waiting on about 2 or 3. But I think there's 5 in there so far. And yeah, guys who've come in and just had really, really positive experiences and opened their own possibilities when it comes to dating. So go check out the site. What else have I got? There's also the cold approach text guide as well. So I've got an email guide. It's about 20. It's like a series of about 15 emails that you'll get, and it's actually pretty detailed. I think it's probably the most detailed written guide on daytime approach. I did it over the summer, so that's something else as well. If you're new on my channel, join the Telegram group, check out my website, but also get that email guide as well. I don't spam you with loads of emails. It's about 15 emails over about a month that will introduce approach to you in a detailed way. And some people like to have a written map as well. So go and get that. Is there anything else? And you can also, obviously, there's the link for the calls as well. If anyone is interested, if I think interested is even the wrong word, to be honest. It's like if you're sick of your current situation and you know you need to do something about it, and you are the type of man who does actually do something about it. Actually, probably most men aren't. Probably most men actually really don't do that much about their situation. They just kind of take what they've been given. But if you're a guy who knows, no, if I put in the right steps, I will get the right result. And you're basically a well put together guy in general. Then I can help you, and I can get you to a much more positive space in your dating life very, very quickly. Definitely within 3 days, probably within about a day and a half. It's a really eye-opening thing for guys to see. God, once I just know some of these basic skills, then I'm all of a sudden I'm going from swiping away on Tinder, getting matches that are just way beneath me, like not really being wanting to go out to clubs and things, especially if you're in your 30s and 40s. I go from that to the world is my oyster. The world is my oyster. I can team up with other guys, or I can go on solo trips. I can go around my city, and actually know how to approach. It's yeah, it's a very very relaxing way of life actually. When once you've got that, I know for example, I know for a fact just for myself. I know I kind of have good experiences around the corner, one way or another, because I just know what to do. So, and I'm willing to put in the volume, and I'm willing to accept. I'm not Superman. I'm not shooting lightning bolts, but I will. I'm proficient enough that I know I'm going to be able to get good results, usually quite quickly, to be honest. But even if I have a spell of a few days where nothing's sticking, that's not going to last for very long. That's quite, to be honest, that's quite rare now, if I'm being honest. But it's a different place out compared to where I was 3 years ago, where I was just dependent on clubs and then salsa and the dance floor. That was what I was totally dependent on, which is still not too bad. It's still better than Tinder. Um, so yeah, the approach I advocate is just like full spectrum. You know, get your social circle sorted out, build yourself a little kingdom, learn cold approach, take some trips, and if you are going to use Tinder, use it in a location that's favorable to you, and in a way that's favorable to you. I think in like a place like the UK and the US, from what I can see, it's like guys who are like really good. Let's say the guy's like an 8.5 and 9, they're matching with like fives, and they're actually accepting that they will shag like a five, which is completely grotesque in my opinion. So I don't know why the fuck that happened. So if you are going to use an app, take a trip to a country where you're basically the only white guy. That's probably what I would honestly recommend. And then by default, you're just going to get some hot Asian girls or African girls. I don't know if they've got it in the Middle East, but by default, you will be so rare that you're gonna like you will clean up. Um, but it's that's probably the only sensible way to use Tinder in my opinion. Um, and in that case, yeah, you use that as well. Just hit the full spectrum. Um, Hit the nightlife if you not like the nightlife. I'm gonna be getting back into the dance this year. I feel like it's something that's been missing. I'm missing it now. I've not been doing it much this last 12 months, so I'll be getting back into that. And that's also a really nice way. It's still my favorite way to meet a woman by far, by miles. There's a different kind of connection you have, but you know that's not very flexible. If I can't just start dancing salsa in the supermarket, I mean I could. It'd be pretty cool to get that on footage, but um, yeah. Daytime approach is a Swiss Army knife. You can deploy it anytime, anywhere, and that's what I love about it. It's your insurance policy for the rest of your life. And some guys like me, we kind of use it as a bit of a way to build further social knowledge, social confidence. You can do it. You can if you want to get further into it, you can do that. Uh, Guys like Balthus, me, Ephraim, that's kind of Christian. That's kind of what we've done. Um, but even that has a kind of like a plateauing effect after a while. Um, yeah, but I enjoy the learning process. It's like now I'm realizing, you know, there's some sets that I do where I'm like, that's a girl with her entire family. I am gonna go and have to speak to the dad. That's what I'm realizing in some of these sets. So like, just the one to one is easy, but like where it's an entire family, that is a genuine challenge now. Um, let's have a look here then. So none of the links are working. Let's have a look. Um, okay, I'll send you Jay. I'll send you the stuff through. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah. By the way, guys, if you go and try the links, just let me know if it's only just gone up. So just let me know if there's things you can't see. Can you see the website, Jay? Yeah, exactly. So just for anyone who's watching this, Jay is a student of, might I say student, just a guy who wanted to learn this, who came out to Belgrade to work with me in the summer, and I just did a 3 day program. He's basically like the complete package already. I would say for incoming students, I would say there's really nothing there's nothing I could really say to Jay where I say, you need to work on this. Everything was on point. Fashion, physique, job, everything was like completely on point, completely ready-made to go. So, and there's guys who come in who are actually like that already. Quite a few actually. But then there's other guys who they do have a lot of things to work on. And yeah, he's on Tinder, he's matching with fours, which is completely ridiculous. And then we go out to Belgrade, and on the first day, he's closing hot girls on the first day. And I actually still think, Jay, I still think it's kind of like on you, mate, what you want to do with it, really. You could probably, just off the girls you met on that immersion, you could probably enjoy the next year, and getting to know those girls. But if you wanted to, you could do more. I think every guy with this, everyone has to make their own, like, I was thinking about this, what is success in daytime approach? Obviously success is getting some girls, but it's going to look different to different people. So like for guys who've got a very intensive career, actually how much volume of cold approach do you want to do? Not that much actually. You just want to get good, get effective, and then get some nice girls, and then probably pick one. That's actually what a lot of guys, I would say most guys, I think that's the most healthy option for most guys. So that's going to be most guys I work with, to be honest. They just want to get some decent options on the table and then get a girlfriend. And I think that's like, that is the goal for by far most guys, even myself. Like, by the time I got to daytime approach, it's like I don't need to rack up the numbers, the bodies. I just need to know that I can do this. That was a big thing for me. It felt like an invisible barrier that I couldn't break on my own, or I could pierce it at times, but I didn't really have control. And so that was the big thing for me, was the freedom. So everyone comes in for their different reasons. Younger guys, like for example, my friend Ephraim, he's still putting up a lot of, I don't know right now because he's doing a lot of coaching, but he was still like, his main experience phase with women came through cold approach. So he was just racking up bodies with it. So depending on where you are in your life, what age you are, and what else you've got going on, that's really gonna define, how you move forward with it. Balthus, for example, is another guy he does a lot. He's probably the guy who's probably doing maybe the most at the moment. I'm always around. I'm always around at the front doing quite a lot, but I think he's probably doing the most at the moment. But he's in this phase where he's like in this winter hibernation, and he's got his work sorted out such that it basically affords him almost like a private income or something. He can just pretty much go out every single day if he wants to for at least an hour or two. So, but if he was working a full-time like high ticket sales job where he was doing loads and loads of work, he wouldn't be able to live like that. So then you go, okay, well, sensible option is to get a girlfriend. So you got to think about the sensible option for yourself and what is actually beneficial for your life. For me, with cold approach, 6 months in, I got a girlfriend. About 4.5 months in, I started seeing two girls who were both like really good. Both of them were girlfriend material, for sure. And it's always probably going to come down to two. And then I went away for the new year with one of them, and then started sleeping with her like more. And then the other one, I basically just said, look, I'm seeing someone else. I've been down a route before of dating full time, having two full time girlfriends, and then trying to get others as well. And I wouldn't recommend it actually. It can end in disaster. Yeah, it ended in disaster a few times for me in my 30s. So this time in my late 30s, I decided, right, let me focus on this one girl. And then I just continued to do the approach because I found it like a challenge. And then at a certain point when I went over to the Balkans, this would be about 18 months after I'd started, I was just continuing. I was like, this is interesting. I'm doing it in these different places. And then yeah, by the time I closed numbers in Bosnia in midwinter, that's when I think I decided I'm going to start coaching here. Or it's like I'm moving towards the level of a coach now, if I can do it out here. There's probably another couple of months until I've decided I'm actually going to focus this channel just on coaching material. Oh, okay, great, good. So the website's looking all right. Good. Yeah. Um, yeah. Thank you, Wix. It's a nice website builder. I've just been fiddling around with it for the last couple of months. I've got another business that I work in, so I've not. It's taken a little while to get done, but I'm happy it's up now. It just gives people a bit more material to look at. You can see this stuff is actually real. It's not just me chatting on camera. So the next phase, yeah, is to start getting this Telegram group going, start getting people a bit inspired, get people going out, um, posting some wins, and then also on my end as well, doing more in fields this year as well. I've got the spy glasses, so they should come through. Oh, nice, flying out to Belgrade. Exactly, exactly. So this is it. You've got the skill. You know what to do. I remember you made some notes on the immersion. you it's not like the type of thing you can easily forget. You're smart anyway, so you figured it out quickly as well with the instruction. But once you've got the skill, it's just like, yeah, just enjoy your life after that. Just enjoy your life. There was the whole pickup artist community in like the 2000s. It started off with Neil Strauss and his book. I talked about this on a previous live. The pickup community in the 2000s was basically a way for American guys to respond to the radically different sexual marketplace that was coming through, that they weren't prepared for. And they were ill prepared for, given what is shown to them on TV in Hollywood, which is a complete load of garbage about how male-female dynamics actually work. It's got no basis in evolutionary psychology or evolutionary past or even anything. And so all that nonsense that people were, the grand gesture and stuff like that, like, as if that actually works, all of that nonsense just poisoned those guys' minds, and so they were just like completely bereft. And so that book, The Game, came out as a way to help guys really, Mystery, the guy who was the start of it all, as a way to help guys. But actually, it was kind of designed for guys who were more unsuccessful. It didn't really go into things like self-esteem or self-confidence. It was just all tips and tricks and, very, very old-fashioned, like very primitive in a way. And then it got taken over by this company in Los Angeles. The whole space got there was some front runners in there called RSD, who they were a big company in the 2000s, who were very inspiring, I think, for guys. I watched quite a few of their videos. Um, they're very inspiring, but I don't think they were very practical at all. And in fact, I know some of those guys. I know some of it was a con. So they would use actresses in the videos, but they wouldn't disclose it. So in my opinion, it's fine to use an actress in a demo, and in fact, I can actually see why. Now I'm actually doing videos, I can see why guys do it. There's a couple of coaches who do it. I actually think it's fine, as long as it's obvious that you're doing that. You're because to do a teachable moment, sometimes in the approach can be like approach is often quite messy, but there is an ideal format of approach. There is an ideal way that it can work, and that's what you kind of shoot for. But if it goes off track, that's fine. You just carry on. But yeah, they would do stuff, and there was a video. I remember one. Uh, that's when I knew it was fake. The guy sees a girl. They're walking down the beach on camera. The guy sees the girl. She comes to him. He says something. She jumps into his arms, and he's carrying her along. And then he says kiss, and she kisses him. It's just like, and then she runs off. It was just the fakest bullshit of all time. Amazing they actually. I don't think they would get away with it now. I think people would just be too savvy, but because it was quite new media, no one really. And the guy's so charismatic, the guy who led the company. It was a crazy fucking company. Just as a purely economic company, like they used to do massive things. You see these big workshops they did, but they were all about like they were just very, it was very like, you need to have a lay count of X amount and this type of thing, which they didn't even have. I think in almost all cases, their coaches didn't even have themselves. But to me, it was just not. You're gonna say that to a guy who's like a Silicon Valley programmer who's coming in, who's probably never had a girlfriend, You're gonna say he needs to get a 200 leg count or something, otherwise he's a beta male. It's just fucking stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that whole space of, you know, the whole leg count thing, it's just, for students, I think it's so unhealthy. Like, that is not what people need to hear. What you want to hear is get some options and pick one. There you go. That's normal. Why the fuck do you need to sleep with 200 women just to prove something? Who are you proving anything to? You know. Um, yeah. If you're a coach, you probably need a bit of experience. Like, I don't know, if there's a coach who slept with like one girl, well, he could. To be honest, they could still be very good at cold approach. They actually could. Depend, like if they were quite young and they're just starting out on the sexual side of things, but they completely mastered the approach, they could still coach for sure. But it doesn't need to be like, you need to be good enough to generate options that you're happy with, and that's it. So, and that's and then just use the approach if you want to use it, and it's always there as a backup. And then if you're a little bit of a, if you're a bit curious like I am, like how far can we actually push this, then you can carry on. But I'm all about stacking the whole deck in our favor on everything, on the look, on the approach, on the social life, on the location. If you're going to use some digital stuff, you know, improving that Instagram. Um, if you're going to go online, you know, on Tinder and so on, make sure you're going to a place, as I say, where you're like a diamond out there. It's just not worth it in Europe, in my opinion. Just full spectrum, and of course, if you do that, you're going to find good options. You're going to find good options that you're happy with. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 99 a month. So I've seen that. I mean, there are some coaches. One of my friends has one of a community which is it's 500 a month, and the thing is, he knows what he's doing. So it probably would be worth it for someone to go in for, let's say, a couple of months. Actually, they probably learn a lot. I'd still recommend doing an immersion though. I'll still recommend doing an immersion. Yeah, and for me, just like I just want to give away stuff on the channel, give the demos on the channel. I give my channel right now, I honestly I give it a total of about 3 out of 10, in my own opinion, because the knowledge is there. I can communicate the knowledge, and the experiences that I can share are real. But I'm just not happy with where the infields are at the moment, which is it's kind of it's a bit of a, it's annoying one infields because they're quite hard to shoot. Um, so I might have to kidnap Balthus from Belgium. I might have to send. I might call Trump and say, mate, I need you to kidnap someone else. Yeah, once you finish with Venezuela, once you got rid of the Venezuelan president, I need you to kidnap this Belgian guy for me. Um, it's really best if you can film with other guys who are good at approach, where we film each other. That's the best way to do it, because then we kind of know what we're looking for. We know what we need to do for the other guy. So that's a big project this year. Um, Things like the thumbnails and so on. Like, I mean, just it's very it's a very mixed bag, because yeah, I'm not a full-time YouTuber and I'm not a full-time coach. I have another business that I'm working in, but as time goes on, this will become more professional. Uh, yeah, there are a lot of bullshit artists though in the dating space. Unfortunately, there are. Um, Something like cold approach is a very concrete thing. Like, you can either do it well or you can't, and you either know what you're doing or you don't. And it's really not something you can blag. That's why I like the infields. That's why I want to get more of them. It's pretty much like you know, that's why I paid a coach, because I just saw about four of his infields. I thought, yeah, that's good enough for me. That's fine. I know that I can't do. He could. He was almost. I watched him. He was almost approaching in the streets as I used to do in clubs. I was like, I don't really know how he's pulling that off, but I need to go and learn. Um, so, yeah, more infields, but yeah, I mean, it is mad to me when you've got like 25, 26-year-old dating coaches. That is a little bit mad to me, to be honest. Like Ephraim is young, but he's really an exception, and I've seen him in field a lot, and he's very good. But I think even he's not like, he's not advising people on relationships. He's not advising people on like how to pick a spouse. He is an absolute specialist in approach and getting contacts and details and setting up dates. Um, if you're looking for the other stuff like how to vet a wife, how can a 26-year-old really tell you that? It's very difficult in my opinion. Um, so yeah, there's a few older coaches who are decent as well. There's one guy there's one English guy I've seen who I've not really seen any of his infields, but I've seen the way he generally presents himself. I think he's quite solid. So there's some decent people out there. Eventually, guys, just the idea is you just connect with the guy that you can see he's got skills and you just would would enjoy hanging out with. Basically, that's basically what it is. Um, and it's quite an intimate thing in a way. Going to do an immersion with someone is quite like you know, it just being good at picking up girls is not actually enough to be a good coach. You have to be you have to be really empathetic to someone who's coming in to do this, because there's some guys everyone's facing some level of nervousness and fear, but some guys really are facing a lot of fear, and it's important to be empathetic to that, and to have the skill as well to actually take someone through, take someone through, kind of lead them through, and then eventually they start to lead themselves through those moments. Just being good, like, I'm sure everyone's got mates who are great at pulling women, but like they're absolutely dog shit at helping anyone else do it. That's not, you actually have to be good at assisting other people as well. Um, so yeah, the channel and everything really is geared towards coaching. That's what it's geared towards. I might do a product in the future where it's like a very much almost a so-called done for you product, where you could literally plug in and watch like 10, 20 videos and you would download every single thing, every aspect of knowledge in its full clarity that I've got. Um, that might be something I'll do in the future, but for now it's just coaching, because I think that's where the impact is. Let's see if there's anyone else here. Yeah, Jay. I mean, I think there's a good chance. I'm looking at the summer. I think I'm about 70, 80% going to Belgrade in the summer. I think that's very likely where I'm going to go. I'm still in touch with some of the girls out there, and I just like it as a city. It's a good place to run an immersion. Maybe slightly. I wonder if it is harder than other cities, but I kind of like that. I think it's good for guys to do it in a place that's not exactly a piece of piss. And if you can do it there, you will be able to do it in other places. That's a guarantee. And I also think the reward is a lot higher. With Serbian girls are really premium. Not on looks for one thing, they're fucking great looking, but also personality, intelligence, self-confidence, pride, values. They're just top draw. They're absolutely top draw women. Um, I I just think a lot of that whole area. Um, they're not as flirty and banterous as like the Latinas and stuff like that, and the African girls. I like that flirty energy more. So I don't know if I would settle with the Serbian girl, but I definitely like them. I definitely like them. Um, I think for a lot of guys, definitely a lot of guys, they would be the perfect like wife material, just absolutely sweet wife material. Um, I think I managed to find a bit of a barbarian girl actually last summer. She's the one that's still fucking interesting to me. She's very sweet when I met her and stuff, and then I realized like, nah, this girl's an absolute full-on barbarian. Um, Absolutely full-on barbarian. Um, so maybe I'll go back and see her. I don't know. I like the cathedral and stuff as well. I just like the city, and it's not too expensive either. You know, it's good quality of life, hot girls, respectful people. Um, you're not going to get robbed. Uh, very safe, and just great bars, great vibes. A lot of hot Serbian girls, a lot of hot Russian girls there. Um, I've got my Bulgarian friend out there as well, who I met, who's one of the coolest. He basically lives a similar lifestyle to me almost, but I think even more intensive in terms of like pick up and travel and stuff like that. He goes to like when he left Belgrade, he went straight to Ukraine. He's just fucking around in the Ukraine. Then he goes to Russia. He's got all these different passports and stuff. The guy was an absolute dude. And so you meet these characters, traveling around. But he was a specific daytime approach guy. He fucking loved it. He gave me. I've never known. I've got a lot of knowledge about the Balkans now in terms of approach and stuff. But he had the most I've ever heard. He gave me like the names of like Bosnian villages where the girls have got like the biggest tits and stuff like that. He was. I know it's true as well. Like it's not the type of shit you would make up. Um, yeah, low exposure. Yeah, so yeah, girls who yeah, yeah, dude. I mean, I dated at least one virgin when I was out there. Um, for those couple months. Yeah, a lot of the I think both Ephraim and Balthus they were like met girls who were either virgins or had like one boyfriend. You know. Um, so yeah, yeah. This just it's just a good place. I liked I did like Bosnia as well though. I was shocked, dude. Bosnian girls shocked me. I didn't believe how fit they were. I was not. That was Serbia. I expected. For some reason I didn't expect Bosnia. I thought I thought they would all be just like more Turkic looking, dark. I thought they'd be fit, and they are attractive, but I didn't think their tits would be so ridiculously big, and I also didn't think that would be all the blondes as well, like the blondest platinum blonde, blue eyes, fairest like something from like a fucking Disney film, like the fairest of the fair, the fairest skin, just like that's not even my type of girl to be honest, but I was so stunned by like I was like was not expecting this at all. Um, very, very beautiful. Yeah, Bosniak girls, man. Premium. Entertaining taxi drivers. Oh, mate. Yeah. You've got to download the app in Belgrade, man. Some of those, I had so many disagreements with, I had two or three disagreements when I was living there last year. Eventually, yeah, I learned to download the app, but some of those taxi drivers just pure criminals, really. It's a criminal. They're a criminal race, the Serbs. Basically, it's basically there's just yeah corruption and all that type of shit. Um, it seems to work out though. I don't know. They seems to work out. They've got a good society there. So different. To say it's in Europe, it's pretty close to like Italy. It's a crazy thing to think about. Um, yeah, for me, Europe. Um, yeah, daily flights from London. Exactly. The other destination I was thinking of was Poland as well. Were you in Krakow, Jay? I've had really good reports from Krakow. Christian said he absolutely loved it, and he's had students have done really well out there. Ephraim had a great time out there. Um, yeah, so that's one I'd like to explore. I actually find Polish girls very attractive. I feel like they've got um, a slightly different look to them. Um, Maybe a bit more dynamic in terms of personality, like off the bat. I think they're a nice medium, like happy medium between Western and Eastern from the ones that I've met, which is quite a lot in the UK, to be honest. I think actually Polish girls. I had a friend who said he was living in Ireland. He was like, Polish girls are just taking all the best Irish men. Irish women just can't keep up. They're just more competitive. Polish girls just more competitive. Sexual marketplace competition. Um, So I actually, yeah, I think they're good girls, man. They're good girls, the Polacks. There's a whole world out there for us, boys. There's a whole world out there for us. The odds are in our favour. The odds are so vastly in our favour. All we need to do is find one, and if you find two or three, for most guys, realistically, then you just take your pick from that. Um, you don't need to have like, yeah, yeah. You prefer the vibe in Belgrade. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, yeah. It's good to know that. It's good to know that. Um, yeah, there's so many cities. Dude, honestly, one I'm gonna hit is I want to hit Moscow, dude. I want to hit Moscow midwinter. I want to do some fucking infields in Moscow and get arrested by Starmer when I come back into the country. Um, that's yeah, that's I love to do some Moscow infields. That would be fucking outrageous. Yeah, Russia would just be. Um, I really like Russians as well for the most part. I get on well with them. Um, yeah, I get on well. I get on well with all those Slavic countries. I just yeah. There's a separation between Eastern and Western Europe, which I think is historically was, I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm glad it's there. I'm glad they've insulated themselves from the bullshit that we fucking got involved with. Um, I'm glad there is a fight, like there are some final last bastions of Europe, like in its former glory. They are still there, you know. Um, I mean, hopefully, yeah, we can restore things. We've got the Orange Man kicking ass over this side of the world. Oh yeah, deep Siberia. Yeah, low exposure. Is that French? There's a French guy who does pick up stuff that I've seen talks about exposure. I don't know if this is something. Um, I think it's an interesting way of framing it. Yeah, low exposure. Because it used to be like whether a girl was basically, for want of a better word, a slut. Like she'd been banged a lot, which I don't necessarily mind, to be honest with you. I would rather get with a girl who banged, let's say 15 guys and was just a dirtbag in the bedroom. I would rather get with a girl like that than a girl who had had one boyfriend but she spent all of her time on social media. By far, I think the latter it corrodes the human mind a lot more. Um, and I think just a girl, the way I would define it, the way I define like a slut is a girl. I see it in a way. The way I define it is if a girl is out of control in her sexuality, so like she's getting drunk and she's doing stuff that she regrets, then to me that's just like a slut. That's an idiot. I don't respect that. I don't respect that at all. But there is such a thing as a girl with a high sex drive. If the girl just has a ferocious sex drive, she just likes to fuck. I don't mind, man. I don't mind her having some experiences behind her. It's kind of normal to me. Um, but yeah, um, a virgin is still the ideal. I was close to getting a virgin this summer, but I didn't quite seal the deal. And now she's no longer a virgin, so now she's gonna be a slut. But if I see her again, but I've met a few virgins here recently. But I think it's like as long as it's healthy, you know. I don't know if I see a girl who's a 30-year-old virgin. I don't know if I would see that as healthy, to be honest. I'd want them to have some experience by that point. But yeah, if a girl's going out doing MDMA and smoking and drinking, and then she's just fucking random guys because she's drunk, to me that's a slut. That's someone who's out of control and is an idiot. Um, yeah, I've just heard there's a French guy who yeah, he uses that term. I don't know if it's probably just something that's going around the internet. To me, low exposure in a good way is like a girl who's not you're not woke basically, you know. I do think though, like I see even out in the UK, I don't meet too many woke girls actually. Going out in Manchester and stuff like that, it's very rare, very rare. Um, this is one aspect of the migration as well, which actually plays in our favour. Is there's a lot of girls coming in from quite conservative places, man, and I think the English girls, I think they kind of know we've got some competition on our hands here. I don't maybe they don't see it in that way, but like at a certain point, that penny will drop, and the fact is they do actually. Um, yeah, if a girl's had like if she slept with like 100 guys or something, that's kind of like we're getting into prostitution territory now. Like women racking up those types of numbers is pretty demented. Um, there's a women are the kind of great middle class of the sexual marketplace. Is in men with men you've got like, especially now, you've got a lot of like young male virgins who are like virgins into their mid 20s. There's more male virginity and so on, and then at the other end there's men who've got a lot of options going on, and then women are kind of in the middle. You know, they don't they're gonna get laid obviously. It's like it's not a challenge for them to get laid, so they can get something, but at the same time they're probably not like for guys like I definitely for years of my life like I was looking to maximize my like kill count, you know, for at least a good for at least a couple of years. I think, you know, I don't know if girls actually go through that phase where they're looking to actually do that. Um, yeah, some guys never stop doing that, to be fair, but like I think a lot of guys go through that little phase for a year or two. They want to get with a girl from every corner of the earth or something. Um, Maybe girls do as well, but I do think there was definitely this was the RSD period where guys were like literally looking to improve their count or something. It's just it's a bit, it doesn't really make much sense. And what's interesting as well, I'm 40 now. I look back at certain experiences and I'm like, I can't even really, I know that I can't even remember it. It's like genuinely, I can't remember it. Half the experiences you have, you can't even remember anyway. So, and what utility that really is, I'm not sure. I definitely took most of my lessons from the different coachings I've had. I hired a life coach when I was 28, which was very useful. B, my club promotion, and then see my relationships, and then obviously some of the you know the short term things I did as well, and cold approach. But a lot of my learning has come from those relationships, um, and also watching other guys as well, guys who fuck their relationships up through mostly through lack of leadership, and then they end up getting divorced. It's a sad story actually, especially girls who get with girls from Slavic countries. That's a major mistake. If you're a Western European guy, getting with one of these high standard Slavic girls, you've got to show some leadership with those girls. It's a requirement. It doesn't have to be crazy, but it's definitely a requirement. I think the more, and honestly, the more of it you show, the better. They fucking love it. They fucking love it. They're just pure barbarian girls, man. Like that Russian girl I met in the Belgrade Mall, the influencer. She was she was fucking hilarious. She was telling me how like she cheated on her husband with a handball player, and she was like, "Yeah, it was my husband's fault for introducing him to me." And she's just like, she just had no accountability at all. And I found it funny because I was just like, I know what you need to be tied up and firmly thrashed into oblivion, and you would be a purring little kitten. That's all your husband should have done to you, basically. Um, yeah, she just oozed like this challenging woman who just wants to be thrashed, basically. It was interesting. Yeah, husband must have missed the memo, so he lost out to the handball player. God, that's a whole story. That's a whole fucking. She told me her life story in the approach. It was fucking hilarious. Um, yeah, I'd love to go out with her and like do some content and stuff with her and her mates. She was fucking incredible, man. Sonia. Yeah, apparently it's quite big. Like handball is quite big in Russia. They have like a professional league and stuff. Uh, yeah, it's just a country that fascinates me, really. Um, no, she was. There are a lot of Russians living in Belgrade, and a couple of them I met. I have a quite a nice friend that I met who I kind of cold approached her as a warm up approach. She was fairly attractive. I wasn't super attracted to her, and I actually became friends with her and her husband. Uh, so there are a lot of Russians in Belgrade, but this one, no, Sonia, she lives in Moscow, and she was just in Belgrade to have a bit of a break and do some content as well for her Instagram. She's got like she was telling me though she was making about some months. She said she was making about 30,000 euros with her Instagram. She showed me the whole thing. Like she really schooled me to social media. I mean, I couldn't follow almost anything of what she was telling me, but she was like, it's this whole absolutely like militant art form that she does, and like way of, showing the public these different products and things, and you show them the product like casually in one of your reels, like, and then 3 days later you put the link in and all this type of thing, and just content delivery. She pretends she's just like independent woman. She's also quite funny as well. She's just like, she's just an absolute savage barbarian. Um, I didn't bone her actually. I went out for one. I met her, approached her, and we had this like just a very interesting conversation. And then there was definitely, I mean, I properly approached her, and there was definitely a spark. And then on the actual date, we shot some content together on the date. Um, so it was kind of cool. It was like doing content and then being on a date at the same time, and there was definitely a spark there. Um, but no, nothing came of it in the end. Um, yeah, it was an interesting one. It's definitely a good experience though. It was definitely a good experience. There's a good video that I did of it about a year ago. Um, I can always tell if a girl's like, if they're these testy type of challenging types of girls, if I visually stare at them in a way which is like, you know what I would do to you. If I stare at them like that, I can tell a lot. And she was the type of girl who like, she was big as well. She was like 6 foot as well. Her parents were both athletes. Um, so that actually did make me hesitate a little bit. I was like, could I take this big beast down? But I stared at her a couple of times, and I could see her kind of. There's a little flicker in their eyes where it's like when you put that male stare on them, they know that there's a power that we have that they don't want to let on that we have over them, which is this just raw sexual power of male that is very, very overpowering to them. I put that on her a few times. That was like, I can remember those moments in the date. Yeah, it was definitely a memorable date, and she kind of did go a little bit girly in those moments. It was interesting, despite the fact she was very your classic Russian hard-nosed type of woman. It's just so fucking cool. Such a cool person to meet. That's the other thing about cold approach as well. For guys who are curious people like me, who are just explorers of the world, as well as the dates that you end up like my Friday night date, as well as those dates, you also have other dates as well where it's like you just met a cool person, or she had a boyfriend and you had a cool conversation. Um, it, you know, it's they're good experiences. They're good experiences. Um, yeah, I tend to find with those women though, like you don't really become friends with them as such, but they like a little contact that could be quite useful. I messaged Sonia about a few things about going to Russia and stuff like that. She was pretty helpful. Um, so yeah, there's just positive social experiences as well. I also encourage people to use those approach skills and those newfound social skills of talking to strangers. Use them in your day-to-day lives as well. Start, just use them with guys as well around the place. Obviously, it's not a romantic thing, but like my friend Sergio out here, my 72-year-old wingman, he cold approached me in the gym, and dude, the guy Max girls like crazy in the gym. He's 72 years old. But I knew he was a cool guy just from the way straight away I was like, oh, he's very proactive, he's cool. And then saw him around, I was like, oh great, this is gonna be a good mate, you know. Um, so use those new social skills to expand your general social circle. That's very rewarding. And then it tends to end up being the guys that like you meet through the different cities and stuff. They tend to be more like a long-term ally. It's like a long-term asset, a long-term wingman, which can be really cool. Like the Bulgarian guy was messaging me the other day when I put some stuff up about Santo Domingo. Um, he was back in the States, but I think he's going back out to Europe again pretty soon. Um, oh yeah, he'll definitely be in Serbia next summer. Yeah, I think I want to go somewhere that's not Belgrade, just for like at least a weekend or something in Serbia. Maybe go to Novi Sad or something, um, or maybe go to Albania for a few days. Just do something a little bit different as opposed to just completely stay in Belgrade for the entire summer. Um, there's the Bosnia Film Festival as well, which is yeah, me and SB we need to get to that. Um, so boys, yeah, a little bit of a Sunday sermon today. Yeah, we start off with Avatar and evolutionary psychology. So Avatar, just remembering you've got the physical avatar which we can upgrade and improve, and we've got the headset, the mindset, the guy who's controlling the avatar, and that's we want to improve both of them. But honestly, give me an average avatar with a beast in the headset any day of the week, because they'll get the job done more than a guy who's got the perfect avatar, but he's just not really grasping. You know, you sometimes see people fall away, and it's like they just haven't grasped. You know, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. You know, um, I will say this about British guys. British guys are dogs, man. British guys are dogs. Every British guy I've trained has been a dog with this. Um, more so. I'm going to defend the men of my nation here. You know, more so probably than any other country. Um, and even guys I've seen who come into my mastermind as well. You think, are they going to do it? Are they going to be? It's there's a doggedness to the British guy, which that actually does that gets the job done. They get there, and even if they're coming in from a deficit, they actually get there. And it's some like, yeah, some of these Latinos, if they're too, if things they don't come easy. They get a bit flaky. You know, even if they might have all the tools. Um, so yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, that mindset, that headset. I think British guys have got. We don't think of ourselves as seducers as such as a nation in the way that the Italians do, but I think actually we're pretty fucking decent, actually, and especially like we've got good sense of humor, um, and I think Brits could just do with being. You know what it is with Brits? Brits need to be more arrogant. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's the only weak spot is they just need to be more arrogant. It's seen people British culture doesn't like people to get too big for their boots, which I suppose is fair enough socially, but for in terms of meeting women, you need to be bolshy and cocky just to a little bit of an extent. It doesn't need to be obnoxious, but you need some of that. You you need some of that. So yeah, I think it depends where you are. In Belgrade, you don't that much. The Balkans, you don't that much. But in Latin America, you got to back yourself. You do have to back yourself. You do. It's just you've got to. You don't want to be too self. You can't be self-effacing, which sometimes Brits can be. But apart from that, they are good, man. They're dogs, man. They're dogs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. That's it. This just exactly. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting thing to observe. It's not always the alpha male Balkan guy who's going. They might do well in the short term. They might have a blast, but they sometimes just give up too easily. You know. Um, and something about the British mentality, that dogged mentality, is actually very good for approach. You will definitely get there. Um, but other wings I've had like Spanish and Italian and Colombian. I mean, these guys are just crazy, and they back themselves as well. So I definitely learned a lot from them. Um, yeah, that's important as well. Uh, that's probably the only thing, but obviously it varies from guy to guy. That's the only thing the Brits could do. Just back yourselves a little bit more, lads. Just be a little bit more arrogant in these approaches, and it'll pay dividends. Um, oh yeah, so the mindset, the headset versus the avatar, and then the evolutionary psych stuff as well, evolutionary psychology stuff as well. Just realizing if you're stressed out with your approaches, it's just a bunch of neurons firing away in your brain. That's all any of it is. So maybe that just sort of depersonalizes it a little bit more. It's not, having a shit approach. It's not the end of the world, man. And yeah, even stuff like now, the worst things that have happened to me, my worst ever approaches, I'm genuinely glad they happen now because it's what allows me to be able to teach. Like going over in front of a massive crowd in Belgrade, approaching a girl at a traffic stop next to Starbucks, and like quite rarely, she was Greek, she completely blew me out, like extremely. Like it was one of those, how dare you, it's one of those. And then I'm just stood there with like multiple crowds watching me all at the same time. And then I just kind of have to slink off. And in the moment, it did feel like a moment of humiliation. But weirdly, about 30 seconds later, I got such a buzz. It was so interesting. But in that moment, and that was a cruel blowout. To be fair, that one. I had one of those from a Haitian girl before in Dominican before it even started, before I even got trained. I was just trying it out with some friends and stuff. And I stopped to go and I said something. I stopped her with a line I'd seen some other coach say something like, "Can I speak to you for a second or something? Or do you have a second?" And she just looked at me and said no, and then like almost like stormed past me or something. It was so out of it was so comical. And then all of my mates were just sat on the park bench just watching me, and then I just had to go and sit back down again. That was probably my harshest. That was the blowout that felt the harshest because I fundamentally didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't have a way to recover from it other than, all right, I'll go and do another approach maybe tomorrow. Um, so those harsh, like those blowouts, you just realize, yeah, that just sends a bit of a cascade through your nervous system, but then it goes away, and then you come back and it's like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Um, and those big losses, they're eventually the things that like they can get you to big wins as well, you know. Um, yeah. So yeah, just realizing it's not a personal thing, it's just fucking neurons in the brain firing away. And yeah, I think just recapping the point I made earlier as well about like your success is getting options and having a good life. That is success in 2026. The way the economy is and all this bullshit, do guys really want to be taking out 5 different women a week? You know, spending probably thousands, over £1,000 a month on dating. That's not really for most professional men. So you want to get some options, but then have it fit with your life. This fantasy that you're gonna have a harem of like Tate, you're gonna have 10 wives. That is just it's just fucking ridiculous. That's not actually the real world for anybody, or for most guys anyway. So I think just defining success in a healthy way is super important. And if you're on a single streak, have a little streak where if you can, but fundamentally just having good options. And once you've got 2 or 3, then actually most guys are satisfied. Most guys are satisfied, in my experience. Most guys are satisfied with 2 or 3 options. It's always going to come down to like 2 in the end. Even if you've got 10 in your phone book, there's only going to be 2. Like that's for me right now. I've probably got. Well, let me look. Let me show off on the live here. It's not really showing off because it's. If I hadn't done so many approaches, it might seem like I was showing off, but this is all just. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then on Instagram about 3 more. So I've got about 10 lives, and then I've got about another 3 or 4 semi background lives, if I can say that. Oh, my ex has just put up a new photo as well. She doesn't do that very much. Damn. Interesting times. I've just got a message from the girl from Friday. She wants me. There we go. A 20-year-old from Friday. So yeah, but it's always going to come down to 2. On that list, it's only really the best 2 that I'm interested in. So that's what it's going to come down to. Sorry, I've just been a bit self-indulgent there, haven't I? It's just to give you an illustration. You would hope that a guy's coaching this, though. 10 is a normal amount of options for someone who's coaching this, in my opinion. So, and he's doing as much volume as me, so it's normal. But it's only going to come down to two. The girls I'm interested in, probably, frankly, is still the ex-girlfriend. I'm still interested in her. And then, yeah, within that, just one or two of the best, probably one or two of the best ones. There's a virgin I met the other day. I'm definitely fucking interested in her. I got that on camera as well. I got that on the spy glasses as well. So she probably will. She may feature on a future video. Just that initial approach. I don't think I'd show me on a date with her. I think that might be going a bit far. Um, it's always going to come down to quality. Yeah, it's what use is having 50 leads in your phone if they're all just not that good. Um, a big maturity process as well for me has been realizing as well, like, this is kind of the avatar thing as well. Like a girl's physical avatar of how she looks, as alluring as it is, and I definitely get allured in. You've got to be careful with that. You've got to make sure that the rest of the picture is there as well. You can't just get obsessed with the physical avatar. I notice especially now with like WhatsApp photos and stuff, and with Instagram, I've noticed like that's a very frustrating place. I actually don't like seeing pictures of women that I've approached and got their number, unless I'm actually seeing them. It actually annoys me to see them because I'm like, I still haven't met up with her. What's going on with that? If I see those photos. So I think not looking at photos of women is actually important. Like not looking at the photos too much of the girls that you've approached and stuff. Yeah, you take a little screenshot, you send it to your mates and stuff like that. But yeah, not continuously checking up. There was a girl who I approached who, fuck me, in Santiago. I knew she was hot when I approached her, and it was in front of the whole of Starbucks as well. Closed her in front of the whole of Starbucks, which was a great close. They were staring at me as well up there because it's conservative up there. No one does that. In Santo Domingo it would be normal, but up there it was just like out of the ordinary. And I didn't see when I met her, I didn't see like how big her tits were. She just looked like slim, beautiful body, but slim, gorgeous face, very passive in the interaction, interesting girl, like alluring. And then she started to, then I like had a few messages with her, and then it kind of faded, and then she started to put up these WhatsApp pictures, and I was like, oh my, her tits are like, her body is absolutely demented. It looks like her tits are real. She's actually just had a child about a year or 6 months ago. So I think she's like completely slim as fuck, like straight away. But I think she's still got tits from like, breastfeeding or something. Her tits are fucking huge. I was like, oh my God, I didn't see that. Oh my God. So she's uploading these pictures and it started to annoy me. It started to piss me off. I'm like, I didn't, Jay, take it easy, mate. Take it easy. Yeah, just finishing up here anyway. But yeah, it started to annoy me. And then one night she posted a video of her like just staggering home drunk from a night out, and I was like, perfect, great, great. That's an excuse for me to delete you. Your avatar is great, but that headset, I can't be around a girl like that. That's not like I didn't leave the UK to come on and get with a girl is acting like who's acting like an English girl basically. Bobby, mate, how are you? How are you doing, mate? I'm very well. Happy New Year. So I deleted her. I was like, thankfully, I can delete her. Yeah, that's maybe something for doing a live on. Like, when should you delete girls? I think that's a very valid question. When should you delete them? Yeah. Yeah, it's all part of the game. Improving your consciousness, improving your headset. That's what it's all about. So boys, been an hour and a half. We'll leave things there. I'm gonna go out to the zone. Do I want to meet this girl or not? I don't know. Do I want to do some infields? Who knows? But thank you very much for joining, guys. Happy New Year, one and all. Go check out the Telegram group. Go check out the website. Go check out my free cold approach course. It's in my opinion, in my experience, I think it's probably the best written document on daytime approach that there is, that course. So go and get that. That'll help you. If this is something that you're suffering with and you just want to get it sorted, just like Jay did, Now he's going back to Serbia to go and meet up with a girl he met out there, just on a 3-day immersion. He's basically sorted his personal life out in 3 days. He's got his pick now. So yeah, if you're interested in that and you're motivated and you're the right type of guy and you think you can actually handle it, and most guys can't, by the way. Most guys just don't have the minerals to go and speak to a girl in the middle of the day, even if they've got a great coach with them. So if you think you're a guy who can handle it, you can book a call, calendly.com/wingbro. I run 3-day immersions. I've got nothing left for January, but there will be other immersions opening up later this year. Right now I'm in the tropics. I'm in Dominican Republic, which has got some of the hottest girls on planet Earth here. Amazing place. And in the next summer I will be in Serbia, or I'll certainly be spending some time in Serbia and maybe other European places as well. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, you can book a call, we can have a chat, discuss your situation. But yeah, really I only want to speak to guys who've really got the minerals, that they know this is something they're motivated for. If this is not something you can half-ass. You need to actually come and do 3 days training. You actually need to say to yourself, this is gonna be a line in the sand. It's gonna be before and after. I am going to change my life. I'm going to explode my options, so I no longer have to wait on the gods of the apps to favor me, which they never will. And I don't have to keep going to clubs for the rest of my life, and I can actually get someone that I want. If that is you and you think you can handle it, book a call. I would love to hear from you, from the right guys. I really do want to hear from the right guys. That's why I'm doing this whole channel. It's not to build followers, it's to get the right guys and get them across the line and change, and assist them in the process as they change their own life with this skill. So we'll leave things there, boys. Take it easy. I'll catch you in the next one.